Hey guys, welcome to Crochet and Ballet. Thank you so much for watching our video. Please do subscribe to our channel if you have not done so already. And today we are going to make this really pretty bralette or crop top, festival top that we are going to make today. It's super cute. I really like it. I'm going to show all different ways. I'm going to make a small today, but I'm going to show you how to make it in any size. So I have made an extra large one and also this small one. So the small one for the video is what we're going to be making. And I'm going to show you how to make adjustments for what size you need and how to measure for what size you need. So also one thing I wanted to point out, in the extra large and the small, the only difference is going to be in this little motif right here. And I'm going to show you when we get to that point and we're making that, I'm going to show you exactly what I did different. The only difference is the amount of stitches that are in that beginning circle. So I will show you exactly what I did when we get to that point. But let's go ahead and talk about the cup sizing first, because that is what we are going to start out with, is making the cups. So if you look at this chart that I have made here, you're going to see just kind of generic sizing of if you want to make an A, B, C, D or larger cup size, then you need to make your starting chain length to coincide with the number of inches on the left, and then the width, which you'll measure across the bottom of the cup, will be the cup width from this chart on the right. So if you do not want to do just a generic, if you're making it for yourself, you can measure, you can make it custom to your size. And the way you want to do that is get a way to measure, and what you're going to want to do is measure from underneath your breast up to your nipple, and whatever that measurement is, that is how big or how long you want your starting chain to be. And then the width you can measure as you go, or to get the coverage that you want wide, but your starting chain is going to be that measurement that you get from there. And you may want to take ½ inch off of that, just in case there's some stretching in crochet projects sometimes. So that's what we're going to start with. So let's go ahead and jump into this tutorial. I am going to start out today using a 3.75 millimeter hook for the bra cups. We're also going to need a 6 millimeter hook for later, after when we're doing the band and the rest of the work. So we're going to start out here. You're also going to need a yarn needle and a pair of scissors. And we're going to start out, I'm going to make a extra small to a small. So you're going to make a slip knot. And I'm going to make 10 chains to be my starting, because that will give me 3 inches. And that is what I want my starting chain to be for this project. So we're going to just chain up 10. And then see, that gives me right at 3 inches, which is exactly what I want for my project. And you can go longer than that if you need a larger size. I'm going to chain one more for a turning chain, and then I'm just going to single crochet back down this row. I'm going to single crochet, and I like to go into the back bumps. You can do it however you like to, but I like to go into those back bumps. Makes it a little bit easier to go down the other side. So I'm going to single crochet down 9 of these. If you have a longer chain, you'll single crochet all the way till you get to the very last one. So we'll go all the way down here till we get to the very beginning chain, and what we're going to do in that one is put 6 single crochets in that same stitch. So go ahead and just continue single crocheting. I'm just going to not fast forward through this because there's not that many left. So we're just going to single crochet all the way down until we get to the last one. It doesn't matter what your starting chain length is, a single crochet down until you get to the last stitch here, which will be the first chain that you've made. So there's where that one is right there, and try to get into that back bump. Usually that one might be a little tighter or a little harder to get into. We're going to do 6 single crochets into that same stitch. So there's 1. My yarn kind of got in the middle of it. Anyway, okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and that has kind of brought us around that corner. We're going to crochet back down the 9 that you go there. There should be 9 stitches on the other side that you're going to single crochet into, and I like to crochet over the end there just to kind of hide that, go ahead and hide that tail so I don't have to sew it in later. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and here is the last one we're going to do, number 9. So then now that we're at the bottom of the cup, so what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn our work. So we had we did 9 and then we added 6. So now we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add 3 in that stitch and 2 in the next, and then we'll go straight back down. So we did 11, and now we're going to do 3 into that same stitch. And after we get those 3, we're going to do 2 into the next stitch. There's 1 and 2, and now we're just going to single crochet back down that till we get to the bottom. See, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, we're going to chain 1. We're going to turn our work. And we're going to basically do the same thing till we get to the top. We'll do a 3 in the top and then 2 in the next, and then single crochet back down. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We'll do one more for 13 because we increased 2 on each side, and then we're going to do 3 in that next stitch and then 2 in the one after that. So there's 3 single crochets into this stitch. There's 1, 2, 3, and then 2 in that very next stitch. So there's 1 and 2, and then you're going to go 13 single crochets back down till you get to the end. And so this is what you're going to do with each round or each row every time you go around until you get to the width that you need for your project. And your stitch count will be different if you had to chain more to make a bigger size. So the only thing you need to remember is that we are increasing by 2 on each side. So every time you start your new row, do 2 more single crochets before you do the 3 in 1 and then the 2 in 1. And that is going to get you the right amount of increases. So here, see, I've got about 2 inches, and I'm going to make this one until I get to, let's see, until I get to 5 inches. And so yours may be bigger or smaller, whatever kind of coverage you need. So just keep doing that, and when you're done, it will look something like this. And once you have it the size that you need for your project, you're going to want to make another one just like this. And we're also going to crochet a single crochet across the bottom of each one. Like, I'm going to show you exactly how I did that here, but you can go ahead and do that with the one you just made, and then keep the yarn on there for the second one that you make as well. And go ahead, you're going to chain, what you're going to do is chain 1, and you're going to go across the bottom of the cup and make a row of single crochet. So what you're going to want to do is just for each row, it's kind of a little bit harder to see, but each row that you've made, do 1 single crochet. For however big your cup size is, just do 1 single crochet across the bottom of each. For mine, let's see, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, I'm going to make one more there to make that even, so 20. And you just want to make sure there's the same amount across the bottom of each cup. And once you have both cups completed, just like that, come back and I'm going to show you what we start next. Okay, here we are. I have got my 100 chains. As you can see, it's pretty long. And now what we are going to do is you're going to get one of your cups and you're going to line them up how you want them. So make sure the right sides are out facing the same direction and figure out how you want it. The ends are on the same side, so you know that those are the same way. And you're going to get the corner where the strap would go, and we're going to slip stitch our chain of 100 onto that corner there. So you just are going to go straight in and pull through a loop and pull it through that last chain that's on your hook, and that will slip stitch that to your chain. And then we are going to chain 1, go back into that same stitch and make a single crochet. And then we are going to single crochet across every single stitch across the bottom row. It may be a little bit tight because your other hook was a little bit smaller, so this hook is bigger, so that's why it's tight, but that's okay. You can still make it work. And we're going to just single crochet across every single stitch across the bottom of the cup. And when you get to the end of the cup, I will meet you there. Okay, here we are. I've got just a couple of stitches left and I will be done with the first cup single crocheting across the bottom here. And so there it is all the way across. It should look something like that. And then what we're going to do is make sure you flip, so it's like that, the strap, the chain, so you want the middle of the next cup, so flip it over there, and we are going to just single crochet into that cup like it was just the next one in the row, and that is going to connect our cups. And I'm just going to go ahead and sew in and crochet over that end as well, so I don't have to sew it in later. So we're just going to continue to single crochet across the whole bottom of the second cup, and see that just attached them just like that. That's all you have to do. So nothing too difficult or crazy. So go ahead and finish single crocheting across the second cup, and I will meet you back when we're at the end of this second cup. Okay, here we are. I'm at the end of the second cup. So you want to make sure that you get all of your stitches in there, and then so it should look something like this. You've got your chain, and you've single crocheted across the first cup, attached them, and single crocheted across the second cup. And now what we're going to do is make another chain for the other strap. So you're going to chain 100 chains on this side. So just yarn over and pull through for your chain, and do that until you have 100 chains. And I'll meet you back after you have finished that. Okay, once you have finished your 100 chains, we're going to go into the back bumps of our 100 chains. We're going to chain 1 for a turning chain, and we're going to go into the back bumps of the whole chain, and we're going to slip, not single crochet, we are going to slip stitch. So I'm going to actually take that single crochet out. You still do want to have the turning chain in there, and we're going to just slip stitch down the whole chain. So that's just going into that back bump, pulling up a loop, and going ahead and pulling that through the loop that is on your hook. So we are going to slip stitch down the whole entire length of the chain. So you just go into the back bump, pull up a loop, and pull that through the loop that's on your hook. So we're slip stitching down 100 chains, so that's going to take a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and let you guys do that, and I will meet you back once we get to the edge of the cup. Okay, here we are. I just have a few stitches left, so I'm just going to do those with you guys. Just if you go into the back bump, it just is going to make it look a lot neater. So do try to do that. So we're just going to slip stitch on these last few. And sometimes the ones that are closest might be a little bit harder to get into because they're typically a little bit tighter and they're closer to the work, so they're a little bit harder to get into sometimes. But so there we go. Now we are on to the bottom of the cup again. And so what we're going to do across the bottom of the cup, your chain should look, after you've slip stitched, should look something like that. And so now we're going to work across the bottom of the cups, and we are going to make sure it's all lined up correctly. And we're going to go right into that same stitch, that very first stitch. You're going to yarn over, go in, and we're going to half double crochet across the whole bottom of the cup in every single stitch. So half double crochet is just yarn over, go into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. And we are going to do that across the whole bottom of both cups till we get to the other chain on the other side. So just keep doing half double crochets across the whole bottom of your cups. And once you get done with that, I will meet you back up, and we'll start slip stitching down the other chain. Okay, here we are. This is my last stitch across the bottom of the cups, and we're gonna go into the chain, and we're going to go into that back bump, remember, because that just makes the project look a lot neater. And so you got to find your back bump, and that first one, like I said, is usually the hardest one to get into. So sometimes I put my hook all the way through and then come back up to pull up that back bump on that first one, because it can be a little bit tricky. So we are going to start slip stitching again. So that's just going into the back loop and pulling up a loop and going ahead and pulling that through the hook that is on your hook, or the loop that is on your hook. So just we're going to do that down the 100 chains we have on this side of the strap. So just continue doing slip stitches all the way down, and I will meet you guys back when we are at the end of this chain. Okay, here we are. This should be looking something like this on the other side. I've got just a few chains left to go into here and slip stitch. So we're just going to get the last few here. And then what we're going to do is cut our yarn and tie off. So you're back at the other end where you can tighten up that one if you need to. We're back at the end, so you've got that end to tie it up as well. So I like to, when I cut my yarn, and then you're going to pull it through one more time and pull it tight. And I like to just tie those two ends in a knot just to help secure them. And then you can sew them in now or later, whichever way you prefer. So we are going to just tie that up tight, and I'm going to go ahead and sew mine in now because I don't like to have a ton of things to sew in at the end. So I just kind of go in a few times in different directions, and it's already in a knot, so that should be very good and secure in there. Nothing's going to be coming apart. Just get that other end as well. And then we will be ready to move on to the next step of our top. Okay, so now we're just going to be working across the bottom of the cups. We are done with the straps. So just across the bottom of the cups, right through there, we're going to join our yarn at the end over here. We're going to take our hook. We're still using our 6mm hook. We're going to go into the very first stitch there at the end of the cup and attach our yarn. I like to just pull through that end and tie it on, and then you're going to go back into that same loop, pull up a loop and chain one, and then we're going to yarn over, and we're going to do a half double crochet into that very first stitch of the cup. We're going to chain 5. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. We're going to skip 3 stitches, and we're going to make a single crochet in the 4th. So there's 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go into the 4th stitch and make a single crochet. Then we're going to chain 5. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip 3 stitches and go into the 4th stitch with a single crochet. And we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. Go into that 4th with a single crochet. And that's making these little loops, and that's what we're going to put our tassels on later on. So we're going to do that across the whole bottom there. So chain 5, skip 3 stitches, go into the 4th stitch, make a single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains, skip 3, and into that fourth stitch we'll make a single crochet. So do that across the whole bottom here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I may just do this across with you guys and not skip ahead because there's not that many left. So just keep chaining 5 and going into the fourth, skipping 3, going into that fourth stitch and making a single crochet. Chain 5. Skip 3, single crochet, chain 5. Skip 3, single crochet. And then we're going to chain, this is our last one. So what we're going to do is chain 5. And if you remember, the very first one we did was a half double crochet. So you're going to chain 5 and then go into that one and a half double crochet into that last one. Okay, and then you should have something that looks like this, and those loops are all going to be for our tassels. You're going to go ahead and cut your yarn and tie off there, and it should look something like that across the bottom. Those will be for our tassels. So now we're going to get into making the motif. So to start off with, we're going to take the work that we have just completed and kind of set it to the side, because we're going to be kind of starting a new part of the project, and then we will attach it on to what we have just made. So I'm going to change to my turquoise color, and you don't have to, you can still use white or whatever color you are using if you'd like, but I switched to my turquoise color. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a magic circle. I also switched to a 3.5 millimeter hook for this one, and you don't have to do that if you don't want to. I just wanted to make mine a little bit smaller. So if you would like to do that, you can, or just to your smaller hook size that you started with at the beginning. So magic circle, you just pull up, wrap it around your fingers, pull up the back loop, yarn over, pull that through. Mine is not cooperating. There we go. And then you yarn over. I'm making mine a little circle a little smaller. And we're going to yarn over, chain 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to make 10 double crochets into that circle. Now I would like to stop here for just a second and just remind you that I was going to tell you about why the middle motifs look different on the larger sized one like this one, and then the a little bit smaller sized one. So the one that I'm making now, I am doing 10 half double crochets into this circle right here. If you want to make it look like the larger size one, or if you are making a larger size one, you're going to want to do 20 half double crochets into this circle. Okay, that is the only difference between those two. So for the smaller size, because I want it to be smaller, I am doing 10 half double crochets right now. And if you want it to look like the other one, just do 20. Other than that, it is all exactly the same. So let's just finish up for this project. For the smaller size one here, I'm doing 10. So let's finish up these 10. Let's see. And then you can pull that string there to make the circle tighter. And once you get to 10, you are going to go, I like to count to make sure I know where that very first stitch is, or 20 if you did 20. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is kind of angled down a little bit, so you just make sure you get the right stitch there. And we're going to connect with a slip stitch. For our next round, which is exactly the same whether you did 10 or 20, we're going to go in each stitch around and we're going to do a double crochet. So we're going to chain one, do a double crochet into that exact same stitch there, and don't skip that first stitch. Go right back into that same stitch. So if you had 10 stitches before, you're going to have 10 double crochets this time. If you had 20 double crochets, you'll do 20 again. But in between those double crochets, we are going to do a chain of 2. So we're going to double crochet, chain 2, double crochet into the very next stitch. So we've got 10 here on my project. So we double crochet, chain 2, double crochet into the next stitch. We're not skipping any stitches even though we are chaining 2 in between. We are still going into that very next stitch and doing double crochets, chain 2, and then the very next stitch we go into do a double crochet and chain 2, double crochet and chain 2, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, chain 2. We are almost done. Just a couple more double crochets. And once you have your 10 double crochets or 20 depending on which one you did, you chain 2 and you're going to slip stitch into that very first double crochet there. And then for me, since I'm using a different color, I'm going to cut my yarn and tie off and switch back to white. So if you're changing colors, this is the time to do a color change, or if you're just using one color, that's okay too. I'm going to go ahead and sew in my ends because, like I said, I do not like to have a ton of them to sew in at the very end, and I don't like lots of just ends of string hanging off of my project, so I do like to go ahead and just sew them in, and then we'll attach our white yarn and we'll get back going. Okay, so I sewed in my ends and I cut them off, and now we're going to attach the white yarn, and you can attach it into any chain space that you would like. We're just going to pull the end through, and like I said, I like to tie my yarn on there at the right in that chain space, and then you're just going to go back in there, pull up a loop and chain 1, we're going to yarn over, go in, and in each of these chain spaces we are going to do 3 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3 double crochets in the first chain space. You're going to yarn over, go directly into that next chain space, and I am crocheting in that tail of that yarn where we attached it. So just there's 2, and we're going to do 1 more in that same chain space. Then you just yarn over, go into that next one and do 3 more. So you're going to do that all the way around. So go ahead and make 3 double crochets into each chain space all the way around, and I will meet you back at the end. Okay, here we are. I am doing my very last chain space. There's 1, 2, and 3, and now we are just going to slip stitch to the very beginning double crochet, which is right there. There we go. So you slip stitch into that, and it should look something like this. It will look, if you did more, then it will have If you did more stitches at the beginning, it might look a little bit different, but it should look like the other motif. So now what we're going to do is we're going to be attaching it to our cups, because we're going to make it into a little halter top. So we're going to have, go ahead and line it up, set your, the other part that you've made out, and you're going to be attaching it where that is going to be in the middle. So what I'm going to do is where my yarn is attached, I'm going to kind of make that be the side where I'm going to be attaching it to the cup. And so it's going to be attached about right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to find, yeah, across the middle there. So those are the ones that are going to be attached down at the bottom. So what we're going to do is find the middle, the top of the cup, the stitch that is at the middle of the top, which is going to be that one right there, and we're going to count down 5 from that. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is where we are going to attach our first chain to attach this little motif in the middle. So we're going to chain 3. So there's 1, 2, and 3, and we are going to slip stitch into that chain right there that was 5 down from the middle of the top of the cup. So we're just going to put our hook in, pull up a loop, and pull it through the loop that is on our hook. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we are going to chain 3 from here, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to attach that back to our motif, kind of at the next little point of that star where that turquoise is right there. We're going to slip stitch to right there. So this time it's a little bit farther away from the cup, so we're going to want to chain 4 from here, and we're going to go down 5 spaces to know where we're going to attach it to the cup. So we're going to chain 4. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we're going to count 5 spaces down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's where we're going to slip stitch to the cup. One, 2, 3, and 4 to get us back to the motif at the next little turquoise point that's coming up there. We're going to be putting it right there at the end. We're just going to slip stitch there. Okay. And now for the next one. So what we've done so far is we have chained 3, 1, 2, 3, and attached to the cup, 3 to the motif, chained 1, 2, 3, 4 attached to the cup, and 4 back to the motif. Now we're going to do 5 and attach to the cup. So we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We'll count 5 spaces down from where we attached before, and we're going to attach slip stitch to attach that chain of 5. Then we are going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we're going to slip stitch it back to the motif. Okay, so now we are at the middle where it's going to go down, so we're going to attach it down to the middle in between the bra cups. Right in there. We're just going to be slip stitching it there, and we're going to have a chain that comes down and a chain that goes straight back up. So here we go. We're going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So you can measure, and if that does not work for, if it needs to be longer, you can make it a little longer. If it's a larger size, it will need to be longer. So you can just see if that is what will make it down to the in between the cups, and we're going to slip stitch it right there, and we're going to chain 15 to go back up to the motif. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, and we're going to attach it right back to the same space that we came down from. We're not going to change spaces for this one when we attach it back, because we want it to go straight back up to the middle. So that same one where that one is slip stitched into, that's where we're going to slip stitch to this one. And then we're going to go back up the other cup size. So on the first side, you know, we did 3 chains, then 4 chains, then 5 chains. On this side, we're going back up from the bottom, so we'll go 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 chains. And in order to find out where we need to attach it to, we're going to need to take a little bit of time here and make sure it's in the right spot. Okay, so over here we found the top. We counted down 5 for the first place we attached it, then 5 more for the second, and then 5 for the third. So we're going to need to do that on the other side as well, because we're starting at the bottom. So you're going to find the middle of the second cup. Okay, so you're going to count down 5 to the first attachment, 5 more to the second, and then 5 more to the third place where we attached it to the cup. And that is where we're going to want to do it. So make sure your counting is correct here, or it will be off center. So that right there is going to be the stitch that lines up with the other one, and we're going to just slip stitch right in there. Remember, we chained 5, and we're going to slip stitch, and then we're going to chain 5 to get back to the motif. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we are going to move to the next little point of that star, and so skipping 2 in between each one. And then we're going to chain 4, because we already did our 5. Now we're on to 4, so we chain 4, count 5 up from where we just connected, and that is going to be where we connect this one with a slip stitch. And then we're going to chain 4 to get back to the motif. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and go to the next little point. There is where we're going to slip stitch. So now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Count 5 up from where we just attached, and that is where we are going to slip stitch this one. We're going to count or chain 3 and attach it right back at the top of that next little star point. And then let's see, lay it out here, make sure that you have everything in the right spot and that it lines up and matches correctly. Hopefully it does. If you did the counting correctly, then it will match. If it doesn't, you can take it out and try again, but it should look like this at this point. So now what we're going to do is cut our yarn and go ahead and tie off. Okay, I have tied off and sewn in my ends, and now we're going to go back to our larger hook size, which is the 6mm hook, and we are going to attach our yarn at the bottom corner of the cup. You don't want to go all the way down to where we worked across the bottom, just at the bottom corner there, right above the strap. Okay, and we are going to attach our yarn here. We're just going to go ahead and tie it on. And we are going to be working up the side of the cup now. So you're just going to go back into that same place where you attached the yarn. You're going to pull up a loop, chain 1, yarn over, go back into that same stitch, and we are going to do half double crochets all the way up the side there of the cup. So you just yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. And we are going to do that until we get to, I'm trying to go over that end of that yarn there. So just half double crochet up the side, and when we get to the top, don't go around the edge yet. When we get to the top, I'm going to meet you back here and we'll go over what to do at that point. Okay, here we are. We're at the top of the cup. That's the middle stitch. If you need help finding it, you can always fold it in half, but just keep half double crocheting all the way up until you get to that middle stitch. So that is the middle stitch right there. And what we're going to do, we're going to attach it over to the top of that motif. So it looks something like that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go into that very top stitch, and we're going to slip stitch. So we half double crocheted up the whole side until we got to the top, and then you slip stitch into the top. And we're going to attach it over there at that next point where it's the turquoise point of that star. So we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and that should get us right over to where we need to be. Right there, we're going to slip stitch into that space. Okay, so it should look like that. Once we are in the correct space, you're going to make sure you're lined up correctly and have everything that you need it to be. So that's the middle at the top, and then you've got the other side one to connect to the top. So we're going to single crochet across the next 1, 2, 3, and 4, so there's the point that's going to connect to the other top. And over here, remember, we slip stitch there, so we did 4 across, and then we're going to go into that and slip stitch so it matches the other side. We're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we are going to attach it to the very top middle point of our second cup. So you just slip stitch right into there. And it should look like that. If it has a little bit of a curve, that's okay, because we do want it to shape to our body. Okay, So then we're going to yarn over and we're going to half double crochet down the other side of the cup. And when we get to that point, I'm going to meet you back. So just yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all three, and do that all the way down that side of the cup. Okay, here we are. I half double crocheted all the way down the side, chain one, turn your work, and we're going to go right back up that cup size. We're going to skip the first stitch there and just go into the second for half double crochet. That's gonna and just keep going, half double crochet up the side there, and that is going to create this little angled look there. And we're just going to keep half double crocheting up the side of the cup, and I'm going to show you what we are going to do once we get to the top. Okay, here I am getting towards the top of the first cup, and you're going to half double crochet all the way over to where our chain starts, where we connected to the motif, and we're just going to half double crochet on there through the chain. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was a 5 chain space, so we do 5 half double crochets into that chain space that we made. Okay, then we're going to go across where we did single crochets. And so we go right into that first one there. And we're going to single crochet across the single crochets. And this will help kind of flatten out the top to make it easier to know and to fit against where your chest is, and that will help us know where to put our straps to go around our neck as well. So we did half double crochets across the chain and then single crochets across the single crochet. And now we're back to the other chain space, so we're going to do 5 half double crochets into that chain space. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then just go right back into the top there with half double crochets, and you're going to half double crochet right back down that whole side of the cup, and I will meet you back there. Okay, here I am back at the bottom, and if you remember, we slip stitched, or we skipped the first stitch on the other side, so we're going to slip stitch into this one at the end, and that will give it kind of that angled look as well. So it should look something like this, and you're going to go ahead and fasten off, cut your yarn, and tie off. And you can go ahead and sew in all of your ends if you'd like. And then we're going to do our top straps up here, as you can see right there, in between where we did our half double crochets and our single crochets across the top. That is where your straps are going to go at the top, those 2 points right there. So we're going to attach our yarn, right there, and I'm going to tie it off again. And I am going to chain 50 here for the top strap. So you're going to go into that same space, pull up a loop, and just start chaining. And we're going to chain 50. So once you get done with your chain, you're just going to cut your yarn and tie off your chain. And then I will show you where to attach the second one. Okay, I have done my first chain, and now we're going to go right here to attach the yarn for the second chain. Go ahead and tie it on. Go into the same space, pull up a loop, and you're going to just start chaining again. We're going to chain until we get to 50 so that it matches our other side. And this will be the part that will tie around your neck. And when you are done with this chain, I will meet you back. Okay, here we are. We have both chains done and sewed in all the ends. So now the only thing we have left to do are the tassels across the bottom. So I'm going to show you exactly how I did those, and you can do your tassels however you would like to. What I did was I did them in groups of 10, and I did them 10 inches long. So I just cut right about 10 inches. It doesn't have to be exact because you can trim them up later. And I did that until I had 10 for each go round. They end up looking in groups like this, and I would take 10 at a time and just line them up with my top so you see all the loops here. So you can use a hook to get them through, or just your fingers. I'll show you both ways so that you know how to do both ways. And so there's my group of 10 strands. You fold it in half, you find the middle point, okay? And that is what's going to go through. First, you're going to take your hook, if you're going to use a hook, and you can kind of push it through that way. Sometimes it's easier. I think these spaces are big enough to just use your fingers, but and then you find the middle there. Reach your finger and thumb through, grab the other parts, and you're going to pull it tight. And that is how you attach the tassels. So I'm going to do alternate turquoise and white. So I'm going to skip the next hole, and then in the second hole do another white one. So you fold it in half, have the middle point with your finger. I'm just going to push it through in the second hole, so I leave room for turquoise. Put your finger and thumb through, grab the other side, and pull it tight. And that is how you will do your tassels all the way across, skipping one space in between. And then we will attach the turquoise. And we're just doing it, of course, the exact same way. Find the middle point, put your finger, push it through, pull your fingers through, and oh, I missed a loop on that one. Let's get it back. There we go. Reach your fingers through, grab the yarn, and pull it through. And just do that on all of them. The remaining stitches that are, or the remaining spaces that are in between, and you are almost finished. Okay guys, so when you're done, it should look something like this, and congratulations, you now have this beautiful top you can wear, or if you're going to try to sell it at a craft fair or something, that's great too. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please do like our videos and subscribe if you like it. We greatly appreciate people that subscribe to our channel. We really hope that you enjoyed this video and enjoy wearing this beautiful top. Thanks for watching.